Welcome to the greatest Tamil science channel. In today's program, we are going to discuss human food connected to the animal kingdom. We will be discussing in length about all the meat and eggs and what an important role it plays with our food and nutrition, and where do we stand at the moment with these food items which are really taken a big impact on our health hazards and other ailments. I hope you will enjoy this program. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the greatest Tamil science channel. I'm your host Vishakha and we are in conversation with the Dr.C.K.Nandagopalan. Good morning, sir.
Morning and welcome to this program, Vishakha.
So today's topic is a very aromatic one, is a very tasty one. We're talking about the human food that we get from the animal kingdom. Think of your chicken biryani or your fish curry or fried fish, etc. 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 Let's look a little bit at about these foods. So before we get into our topic, could you throw a little light on the difference between the foods that we get from the plant kingdom, that's vegetarian food, and the animal kingdom, non-vegetarian food? What is the biggest difference between both of these?
Okay, fine. You have to understand one basic nature's law is what the people should also know. Everything in this world, either it is living organisms, the plant kingdom, the insects or the animals, the reptiles, the human beings, the birds, the marine kingdom, the fish and all those marine life, and also the geological material like all kinds of salts, minerals, metals and whatnot. Everything is not an independent factor. Everything is a dependent factor. This is what is very important for you to understand. One entity will depend on another entity or more number of other entities. So if you take a human being, he is dependent on air to breathe, water to drink, food to eat, and then the geomagnetic field in which we live. There's a connection between you and the geomagnetic field that is required, and then the cosmic waves which we receive. So all these five are important to you. Otherwise there is no life. Once I take you away in the space beyond the geomagnetic field, you are dead. That means you can't literally travel in a space beyond certain distance. That is for sure. So I'm not trying to criticize what space exploration is all about. This is the truth. So now you are asking about the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom. Food chosen by us, that we pick up our food from here. So we have spoken about Saivam and Asaivam before. We are not going to come into that. I'm just brushing your knowledge on that. So ever since the human beings were created by the nature, the human beings have learnt everything from the animal kingdom, what to eat and what not to eat. So we were also eating from the plant kingdom, we were also eating from the animal kingdom. So it all depends on what generation you are born and what was the food given to you from a childhood. So if you are used to non-veg food, this animal kingdom food like meat, the eggs and all that stuff which you are used to it, the plant kingdom is also coming a part of your food, or only plant kingdom food. You know, your milk is involved, everything is involved. So we balance ourselves with some amount of all these things. There are people who only stick to plant kingdom food. The plant kingdom food is easier to digest. The animal kingdom food is slightly harder to digest. But the difference, what is more, which has to be looked into it here, which the ancient science speaks, is the microbial load of any component which you choose for your food. As long as they are fresh and cooked and eaten immediately, it doesn't harm you much. If you are going to go in for processing and frozen, so you have a shop here in Chennai, I don't want to mention the name, you have hundreds of products are there. You have 25-30 varieties of French fries are there, frozen. Bring it, keep it in your freezer.
Right. Eat it.
If the children cry, put the pan, put the oil, fry, you get beautiful ones. Okay, you don't need to chill it also. Just from the frozen condition, you can put in the oil. It will all go inside to the bottom. Right. As it fried, it comes up. Just take it out. So that kind of food, you have these mozzarella cheese sticks, jalapeno poppers, different type of samosas, cutlets. Yeah. They're all been cooked and frozen at -18°F or some temperature they have. Buy it and keep it in your freezer and cook them and eat. That is not going to help you, like what we discussed in the last program.
So irrespective of it being veg or non-veg,
it depends on the physical gene memory and whatnot from the generation in which you are born. Say I'm a tribal in a forest. I don't live in a mainstream of civilization, and I'm a hunter.
Right.
I hunt a deer, bring it. I don't store them. I skin them up, take the flesh, cook it, fire it, whatever, like tandoori, and I eat it. So you're not I'm not. There is nobody to teach him, and he lives with nature. He learns from nature.
Right.
So reading nature, studying nature, trying to understand nature, trying to realize nature in the end is something beyond from your books. The books, whatever various subjects or basic principles of science and other theories you can study, which is all written by somebody.
Right.
Here, the people who live along with nature, they are children of God. They are also children of God, and they understand nature much better than us.
True.
In tsunami, so many people died in the Trans-Asian tsunami in 2004. There's a particular tribe in Andaman, not a single person died. Because they know tsunami is coming.
You can read it.
Yeah, they were all on the treetops, quietly watching. When the Indian Air Force went and took a survey of that island, they are all, not a single person is lost. So this is what you have to understand. Whatever is your next question, you can ask.
Okay. So among all the animal foods that are available, is there a preferred one? Or we've heard about red meat and white meat and fish, etc. So is there something that's preferred, that's better for the human body and digestion and nutrition? Or how would you categorize all the animal food products that we have available?
See, we are now around 700 to 720 crore people around the world. So we need food for all of us.
Right.
Okay. The animal kingdom represents huge amount of our food.
Yeah.
Today, if we are going to make the entire humanity to get educated, to tell them that only plant kingdom food is good for you, we are going to run short of food.
There won't be space to grow it.
We don't have. Okay? The most highest produced food in animal kingdom is beef.
Beef, yeah.
Okay? There are nearly about 70 to 80 million metric ton is produced, processed and whatnot, made available. Then comes the pork. Okay? Deer in most part of the world is banned. So, in a lot of Arab world, they eat a lot of camels.
Yeah.
Then comes your lamb and goat, sheep. It's huge. Then comes your chicken.
Chicken, yeah.
Then comes your eggs. Then comes all other small quantities of various birds. People eat pigeon, people eat that quail, and so many things. Those are all small quantity, but chicken is the highest because it's an industry by itself. Then it comes your marine food, the sea fish and the freshwater fish. There is more of sea fish and less of freshwater fish. In that we eat squids, we eat prawn, we eat crab. They are all white blood animals. They don't have the red blood. So now what you have to understand here is the microbes. Today in South India, in Namakkal, near Salem, 3 crore egg is produced per day. Can you imagine? Supplies to entire India. Goes to many other places like Mauritius, Maldives and all these areas. Now, if you take the human body, the human chemistry, you know what is the closest food? The most human friendly food on earth for a human being?
Fish?
Sea fish.
I remember you saying it in the past videos.
Yeah, what? Because the microorganisms, we cannot eat all the sea fish. There are many fish which are highly toxic in nature. When you eat them, you die. The human beings know. Many thousands of years they studied what the fish we can eat, what the fish we cannot eat. The number of fishes that we have identified to eat, that when you eat them, the microorganisms inside the fish will not harm us whatsoever, and you can have your breakfast, lunch and dinner in all 3 meals a day. You can eat any amount of fish. It won't harm you. But whereas the white blood animals are not good, the prawn and crab. Now, once in a way you can take them. The next is the food and nutrition studies always preach wrong about the red meat.
Yeah.
You're right on one aspect. And at the same time they talk chicken which is full of protein is the best. Yeah. Now we'll talk about that. The beef and pork is no good because of the microbial load. The best of the meat is lamb.
Lamb, okay.
Yeah. Even though it's red meat, it's good, but it's been wrongly portrayed. Because those microbes, those proteins are highly acceptable to us. Those microbes do not harm us much. The most dangerous food compared to beef and pork is your cultivated chicken. I can tell you one example here.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning, the entire globe is not going to have any chicken or any egg for anybody. And that status quo is maintained. In the next 6 months, 50% of your hospitals can be closed.
Oh.
Yeah.
That high, sir?
Yeah.
So is it because of the feed that they give the chicken, or how does it chicken become so dangerous when?
In the present day society, the girl children are reaching puberty at the age of 8 and 9.
Right.
I don't want to talk more than that. The eggs and the chicken are the cause for many diseases in this world.
Right.
And the industry is too huge. You can go to the next question.
Okay. So regarding eggs, the egg white is supposed to be, there's a concept of egg white, the albumin being very good for health and protein, and even people who claim to not have any non-vegetarian food or animal products, they take the egg white as a source of protein.
The egg white is as good as egg yellow. The egg white is as good as egg that yolk, that yellow, or the egg white is as bad as the yellow. Okay. If that is why I said if you go and study them in terms of the nutrient value, it is all crazy. It has no meaning there. But we follow certain principles in science. We follow them to the core. At the same time, to restrict people into food processing industry to give some good food and all that stuff, these mandatory laws are being made. That's good. But it is not the egg yellow is a fantastic food. People are yet to study about it. In your lifetime, I am telling you, you will be, before your lifetime, we're going to read a big article in all the newsprints and in the internet world and all that. Oh, the egg yellow is so good. Start eating from tomorrow. I'm telling you this.
We'll look forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
The egg white is as good as egg yellow. The egg yellow is as bad as egg white. You can call it the same way. That egg yellow is very good for health. The egg, no way. It's not.
Okay.
It's not at all correct. The microbiome inside, we are yet to study about the microorganisms. We'll be studying it in the modern science maybe in the next few hundred years. At that time, all the configuration of this understanding of food materials will change.
Okay. So what about food that's supposed to be, say naturally grown or farm, free range chicken, etc. So are these good for the health, or do the you spoke about the industrialization of poultry?
No, it depends on how much you are used to it, in the sense like if you take, I have seen in this in South Indian villages and all that, twice a week they may have fish, once a week they'll have mutton, that is a lamb. Once in a month or maximum twice in a month they have chicken, country fowls. Imagine the eggs are hatched at home by the mother bird for 21 or 27 days, I remember, and then the chicks will be born. And then it takes 6 months for a bird to grow to some level. Okay? Here, a bird which is cultivated industrially grows in 18 days. Of 3 kilos.
18 days, huh? Oh, that's very shocking. I have not heard this information ever.
Yeah, you have not heard. That's because of the hormone that they mix it in food, and both now it's in water also. Previously, they started 20 years back injecting them. Then they came into food, mixed in food. Then now mix it in water also. 18 days, your chicken is grown.
My God.
They take a particular gene and then they modify the gene and develop these birds. It's a big industry by itself.
Right.
There are very big companies who does this. They rule the world.
I'm sure.
What do you think is the extent of those businesses? It runs into thousands of crores.
Yeah, sure.
Not hundreds of crores, thousands of crores. And then they develop the feed for it. And they make the breast area grow bigger because you get a boneless meat there. Those chicken cannot stand, they just fall off like this.
Right.
Because the load is so much.
The load is too high. Yeah.
So here in it's not the question of all these meat which we take from the birds. It is a lot of heat to us. It creates a lot of heat in us as we eat and digest them. So people are brilliant enough to space how to eat them. Those people who eat food which representing for us from the animal kingdom, they eat. Normally they don't eat beef and pork. You can notice all the people who are eating beef gets into a lot of skin problem after the age of 40-45. If you see ladies permanently wearing socks in their legs, or beef eaters. Okay? And pork has very dangerous microorganisms. When they are not cooked properly, they can smash you off.
Okay.
But it is used, consumed huge. So it all depends on everything is calculated in terms of microorganism, which is understood by the ancient community. So if you carefully look at it, they use beautifully space and use these animal kingdom materials. Like they'll have twice a week some fish, they'll have once a week some mutton, they'll have some country eggs, country fowls eggs and all that, little bit here and there they give to children, and then they have this salted fish once in a way and things like that. But when it comes to the question of bird meat, they eat maximum once or twice a month, not more than
Not more than that.
No, no.
Okay.
Here now we are eating every day.
Yeah, it's available. It's so available that.
Yeah.
So there's a new concept food based on insects because of the very high protein value and the low microbial load. Can you tell us a little more about that? Is it
Insect
really
food
good?
has been there in the ancient days also. There's one particular insect, we call it as easel. During the rainy season, the ants like stuff fly and come and surround your bulbs and all that.
Right.
I remember that they all after some time die and fall. They collect them, they remove the feathers
Wings,
and then fry them up with some flat rice and this bale and all that stuff. They make a mixture like stuff, and then and there it was eaten and finished off.
Okay.
This one thing I have seen. Those people who medicinally also I've seen certain things. The snail, which is they procure the snails from the fields, agricultural fields, and bring them, remove the shell, and then they clean it up and cook and give it to people who suffer from piles, very bad piles. You get cured.
Okay.
And
Even the slime is very medicinal. I think they make a lot of other medicines for skin problems, etc.
Which one?
From the snail slime.
yeah,
That is used to a large extent for skin products and eczemas, etc. Medicines like that.
I have, whatever I have experienced, I have seen, I have spoken to a lot of people in and around southern peninsula. The snail is used for piles normally. More than that, I have not seen insect. Insect food has been started from this Mongolian region, this Korean peninsula, and Taiwanese and all these areas, Thailand and all these, Far East.
Right.
It's been recently started in the last 20 years. There's an insect food festival goes on, and God has given you so much. Finally, they don't want to leave the insects also, so just jumped onto it.
It's also
There are a lot of people in Caribbean islands and a big part of Latin America and all that. They eat these big size scorpions. They eat them, and there are certain communities in Tamil Nadu also. They eat those big size scorpions. Now they eat everything. They eat cockroaches. They eat all kinds of beets.
Beetles, etc. I've seen that in Thailand. Yeah.
They're all. There's some beets are very expensive also.
Yeah.
I keep seeing them these insect food festivals, and they come in large quantity and sell them. I have absolutely no idea of what nutrient it has. We have nothing. We have enough to eat. I don't think so. We should go to the. But there is one statistics which says there are more than 1 lakh species of insects are there on Earth. The mankind has identified only 10,000 so far and named them. The balance 90% we have not even seen them. There's a statistics there. And the next step of that statistics is if you take the entire insect world, collect all of these 1 lakh species and their population and weigh them, they weigh more than us. They weigh more than that 700 crore human being population's net weight. This much I know.
Okay. So is eating meat and meat products anywhere related to colon cancer or any kind of cancer?
Yeah, this is where you see a lot of people in Europe and Arab and all that. There are a lot of people who die because of colon cancer. That's why I said it's a microbial load of the components, because all these people are they don't get access to fresh meat. Now, if you go the entire Europe, America, Canada, most of the advanced, slightly rich Latin American countries, when it comes to the question of Australia, New Zealand, Japan, all these people are, only having access to frozen meat. There'll be a huge counter in length by about 20 feet or even 200 feet in big shopping malls when you go to Dubai and you go to Jeddah, Riyadh and all that. All the advanced nations, whether in big shopping malls, when you go, it's all it's glass-made ones. You can see from start, only the chicken legs, only the chicken breast, the full bird, the winglets, like that, Then different types of prawns from different parts of the world. Then you have minced meat of beef. Then it keeps going, length after length, and all are frozen only. That is where we are getting into problems. The frozen meat leads to lots of problem in your intestines. Intestine is one which we cannot play with. We don't have any treatment for it, any medicines for it. We don't have chemistry for it. Now the recent research study, what is going on is, they are concentrating on colon. What they say is, colon, the larger intestine before the rectum, is given importance next to your heart.
Okay.
There are so much of microorganisms are there. And one more research says, the microorganisms, the number of species we have in the colon is disappearing after the age of 45, 50. We get to see a lot of different types of microorganisms as the age factor goes. And colon becomes a very important area of the larger intestine, which keeps a lot of balance to the rest of the physiological functions. Yeah.
Okay. So coming to the age factor, how should one space out eating meat and meat products, etc., as regards to age, like a child eating versus an adult or an older person?
Even if you are a person who is used to all kinds of animal products as your food in your lifetime, right from the day you are born, as we grow old, the developmental psychology, space the life from childhood to teens to adulthood to middle age to old age and all that. The old age starts. It's all based on regeneration, the degeneration of the human cells. So when you come to 18 to 21 adulthood, the regeneration, the degeneration are matched. So we stay intact till the age of 50, 52. From 52, the degeneration goes more. The regeneration comes lesser, and this gap widening up. So you slowly start marching towards your old age. That's how it's been calculated. It's correct, no doubt whatsoever. There are many methods and systems by the ancients in how to reach your, make your regeneration and degeneration matched all the time in the world, so that you can keep an intact health. We're not going to discuss about that. So as you cross, say 55, 60, it is always better to slow down and stick to plant kingdom food.
Okay.
No doubt whatsoever.
That's an important
to
point.
keep a good physiological balance and good health. The plant kingdom food is always easier to digest. The animal kingdom food is always difficult to digest.
So the load on the liver and the colon is much lower. Right. So final question is, how did our ancient science, ancient tradition perceive animal food and having animal food?
Animal food is a part of your life. Food is food.
Right.
There is no difference much. It's all been identified. You have carbohydrates from the grain foods.
Right.
You have a lot of other vital stuffs from your vegetables and greens, and you get good amount of protein from the animal kingdom food. If you take fish, you have the omega 3, omega 6, all these which is related to your brain and all that. High amount of proteins. Say you have cereals, you have all kinds of dal, which has more of protein, like chenna, like rajma, all these things. No doubt whatsoever. So again, the animal kingdom food, which is representing in our food and nutrition, is rich in B12. So vegetarians, after you see the age of 50, 55, they run down on B12 because these people who stick to plant kingdom food. But whereas we here, the protein rich food is always the food from the animal kingdom. And the sports guys, the guys who involve in field sports, the guys who involved in hard sports like tennis, which they play for 3-4 hours continuously, the footballers, which is 1.5 hours, you run like a rail engine. You need tremendous stamina. You have all the strength in the world to your joints and legs and flesh, and all those so well built they are. And they cannot with the plant kingdom food alone.
Right.
Yes, it really requires, they're all being given a diet of, they cannot eat the way they want. But there are a lot of animal kingdom food represented in their food chart.
Right.
Yeah.
The protein that they need from the
There are exceptional pure vegetarian sportsmen out there in the world. There are only exceptions.
And I'm sure they have to get enough protein from the plant food only.
It depends how each individual who looks at all these things, whether to remain stick to only plant kingdom food or animal kingdom food and things like that. It all depends on the family, the country in which you're born, the geography in which you're born,
right.
the parents to whom you're born.
Right.
The way you've been molded from the day you're born. Your food and nutrition is directly connected to that.
Okay.
And your gene is also directly connected to that.
That's a very important point that you raised on the genetic memory. It's not about just eating what you get, but also what is you were raised with or your generations were raised with. Your body.
See, if you I'll tell you an example for this is, in Siberia is a very big range, a very, very big range of land in Russia today.
Russia, not Russia.
And there are parts of Siberia which are too cold. And there are some communities who are living there. They don't want to come to the mainstream of land and all that because they've been brought up generations, they are living there. You know what they eat?
Seals.
They take cut ice and then allow it to melt. They drink that as water. When they break ice, they can see fish. They pull it out.
Right.
I don't know how much they can cook. They eat that. They have very little access to grain food, and they eat some meat or the other. This is all their food is very little. Their water is ice.
Right.
And you know what is their physiological condition? Almost 99.99% no disease whatsoever.
Wow. Okay.
You know what is the scientific finding here? That ice that they melt and drink as water is structured water.
Ah, okay.
And fish is one of the highest food, which is too closest to the human body. Right. And the microbes of these animals, these water living animals, fish, do not harm us at all.
They're accepted by the
So what harms you here, whether it's a plant kingdom or an animal kingdom, is the microbial load of the food material.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Just to sum up, it's not that humans can consume only plant-based food or animal-based food is not good for you, etc. It's not to do with that. It's about how you consume it. A plate of French fries is as dangerous as you can get. But it depends how you consume, what you consume, and how often. As sir said, also the generations, what your generations are used to, what your parents have been eating, what your environmental conditions you have been grown with. So next time, when you have a plate of non-vegetarian food, don't feel guilty. It's also very good for you. Thank you.